3, 2, 1. Schnittlabor International Review.
Hello and welcome very much to a brand new Schnittlabor video. Today I want to explain you something very interesting, which is the 8 most important reasons for me to order the Osmo Action now, even though I'm using the Osmo Pocket already, and also some Sony cameras, as you may know from other Schnittlabor videos. Point number 1 is, of course, the price. When the Osmo Action came out first, it was around €100 more expensive comparing to now. Also, dollar-wise, it's probably the same, so they went down with their price a lot for an excellent camera. Point number 2, of course, the Osmo Pocket is like a cinematic camera, but it's not really an action cam. The Osmo Action, as the name says already, is an action cam. It has also some feature which enables you to start and stop the camera just by voice, which is also not integrated with the Osmo Pocket. In some situations, I think this feature can be really useful. Point number 3. The Osmo Action is kind of closing some gaps between the Osmo Pocket and the Sony camera I'm using, which I'm going to explain you with the following. So number 4. The first aspect is the HDR function, which means you can also film in HDR quality, which is really very interesting feature, and it's not included with the DJI Osmo Pocket. Also, the Alpha 6400 from Sony doesn't have such a feature, even though some other cameras like the RX100 series, for example, they come with the HDR function, also some of the professional cameras like A9 and so forth. But with the A6400 it's not available, so therefore I'm going to use the Osmo Action with this feature. Unfortunately, it doesn't have image stabilization in that case, but using an external gimbal or putting it on a tripod will give the possibility to use this too. Thank you to the ladies for this explanation. Point number 5, after having mentioned the HDR function, I also need to mention the HFR function. HFR means high frame rate. It holds up to this name because the Osmo Action can film at 1080p with up to 240 pictures per second, whereas Osmo Pocket as well as the Alpha 6400 can only film with 120 frames per second, which means difference of 4 times to 8 times slow motion. And also when it comes down to the time-lapse function, with the A6400 and the Osmo Pocket you have possibility to create time-lapses, but they are limited to somewhat like 3 seconds interval minimum, whereas with the Osmo Action you can even go to half a second of intervals, which I find much more interesting because you can create smoother time-lapses. This is something very much missing from me with these other cameras, so you have another reason for buying the Osmo Action. Point number 6. Using the Osmo Action as an action camera. Like for example, if you want to mount it to your chest, or you want to use a belt around your head to demonstrate you some close-ups of what I'm doing with my hands. This is also possible to do with the Osmo Pocket, but the weight distribution is not so nice as with the Osmo Action. And on the other hand, the lens in those two cameras, Osmo Action, Osmo Pocket, is very different. So the Osmo Action has a greater wide angle, and therefore you can capture situations with much more space in the image. Number 7 is again about the price, and actually I'm sorry when it became too dark. The low price of this camera right now enables you to buy some very important accessories for the Osmo Action, which otherwise would have been much more expensive. So now you have all this kind of like important accessories included in the price. If you want, just write a comment below the video if you are interested in what kind of accessories I think are very important for this Osmo Action. I will make such a video. And reason number 8, this is more almost, I would say, like a historical reason. The Osmo Action is the first camera of its generation. Like same with the Osmo Pocket, it's the first kind of like revolutionary technology. I mean, Osmo Pocket, of course, it's like beyond anything that existed before on the market. But also that DJI now, which is mainly focusing on drones and stuff before, is now bringing out this action camera, and I think it's very interesting for historical reasons to have this camera also as part of the archive, and it makes me look forward very much to the future generations. And on the other hand, because I think it's such an innovative tool, it's probably going to blow GoPro away from the market, even though at least it appears as a strong competitor. And for some aspects, it already beats the new GoPro Hero 8 by just having a bigger touchscreen in the rear side and having an additional screen in front, so you don't need to buy this stuff as an extra accessory like it would be necessary for GoPro Hero 8. So this was my 8 crucial points of why I decided to order the Osmo Action Now. I think if you're interested in what comes out with this, just follow this channel and hit a like button or a dislike button if you didn't like the video. Anyway, thanks for your attention and bye bye!